Hello, welcome back to this channel for our beautiful co-creation today. I'm so happy to be able to join you here again. Imagine that, another video, and it hasn't taken me a month or two. Um, we can attribute that to these crazy frequencies that we are playing in, and that's pretty much going to be the topic of this video today. I wanted to do a bit of an energy update and give you some tips on navigating what is presenting at this time so that you can do a better job just going with the flow, because I'm seeing so many people who are in resistance to experiencing and feeling what is. And as always, and you know, I've talked about this in the past, we don't really have a choice. We have to go through this. And the reason that it feels uncomfortable at times is because our body, our physical body, is going through some massive shifts on a very molecular level. The infrastructure that the body was built on, which was carbon, and then it became carbon silica, and it's going from the carbon silica crystalline to just crystalline light body, right? And there's been different variations of light body along the way. However, we have to understand that we don't even know how many facets of light body there are, truly. Every time we hit a new plateau, we're understanding that there's more light body experiences to be had. So we can't even really focus on it because it's kind of irrelevant. What's important is how we are navigating the reality that we're in so that we can have a better job and do a better job bringing our body through, right? So one of the first things that I want to talk about is this energy that we're in right now. We are going through some incredible shifting, and what's taking place right now at this moment is the preparation for the gateway into our solstice on the 21st. And so with these big energies, it's preparing us, because as these gateways unlock and open up to us, for us, it's also the heart that's opening up, because the gateways are literally the gateways of our heart, right? Because of the way that we birthed through the incarnation process into this third dimensional experience we're having on the earth, have always recognized everything that happens as happening out there. And we perceive it as something that is physical out there. So when we talk about gateways, or we've talked about gateways in the past, the idea of the gateway was always that it was something that was out there. And that's not really how it works. The gateway that we're activating is actually the gateway of our heart. And so many of you might be noticing, or might have noticed over the last probably a couple of years, but mostly this past 6 months, I would say, very intensely, that you might not be noticing your heart beating as much on the left side as you do now in the center, right? So you might be feeling more like the heart is beating from the center of your chest. And that might feel a little strange because we're used to thinking about our heart being on the left side. But as we're going through this shift and we're evolving ourselves and our consciousness and our physical body, we're evolving also those higher aspects of ourselves that are needing to be awakened so that we can have the experience we need in these higher dimensional shifts that are taking place now. And I know many of you out there are experiencing the first realm of New Earth, right? The New Earth experience, which is you're feeling more connected to the fairy energy and the trees and the earth, and suddenly that sparked this new awareness. Perhaps you're engaging more or feeling more of your fairy-like self. And even if you are not a gender that you would think a fairy would be associated with, you could feel it anyway. So this is not looking at, well, you have to be this gender girl to be a fairy, but we're talking about the energy of that consciousness. It's a consciousness, and everything has consciousness. So I'm talking to everybody, all of you in this audience, right? All of you in this community, in this family dynamic, who are perceiving or feeling, or maybe find that you're taking pictures and there's what appears to be like a fairy light in the picture, right? That is the first realm of New Earth. And so you might be experiencing that. I've been experiencing more of the third realm of these New Earth adventures that we're on. And so we're all going to be experiencing things just slightly different. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, that is really the primary reason for me coming on today, is the upgrades that we have the potential to be feeling. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because through this period of time, and especially over the next 6 months, we're going to be asked to shift how we are engaging in our reality, how we are viewing things within our reality. And we're going to be asked to really get serious about letting go of the things that are not in alignment with us anymore, whether it's people, places, or things. If it's not bringing us joy, then we really need to let it go so that we can be open for what is to come. Okay. And I know that that can be very challenging at times for many, but what that allows for us, if you let yourself go through that, is for us to step more into the authentic state of being, our authentic nature, which is the more of that soul essence that we are, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in my last video, I might have talked about the 3 most important aspects we can embody, which would be authenticity, integrity, and I'll probably forget transparency, right? I thought I was going to forget that one. Transparency, because it's very, very important for us to embody those 3 aspects to bring more of our soul essence into the forefront, so we can have more of a soul experience rather than having a more physical, ego-based experience. We have to remember that when we allow more of the soul to step in, the soul will literally reclaim the higher connection to source consciousness. Whereas when we are more based in ego or rooted in ego, which is important to us, and I don't really see us ever shedding out the ego completely, because the ego is what helps us stay in our physical experience. Okay, so let's say we had that 100% worth of ego at some point in our life, and now we're down to 5% of ego, which keeps us rooted or based in the physical. We're still going to need that to a degree. The ego serves the purpose of keeping us out of trouble. It's the part of us that doesn't want to depart the earth, because it knows that we're having an experience that is needed here. Okay. But the ego is also the part of us that keeps us rooted in pain. It keeps us in the process, let's say, reinforcing those experiences that we continually or habitually or repetitively have over and over and over again, because We're so used to the discomfort, but it's what is reinforcing the pain factor in our life. The ego will reinforce that through the selection, right, of those experiences that it knows. So if you're choosing someone in your life to have in your life who is not your cheerleader, they're not your champion, and let's say there's someone that gaslights you, right, and makes you feel crazy, stupid, insignificant, or like you never do anything right, or everything you do is to sabotage them, right? Then it's because you're used to selecting that kind of person because you haven't given yourself an opportunity to know anything else. And the ego will come in consistently to select that person until you're so sick and tired of making those choices that are creating pain and suffering in your life that you're willing to make a different choice that's going to benefit you in the highest way possible. And in that moment that you make the different choice and you move out that old choice that's not benefiting you, you widen the gap to let your higher self, your higher consciousness come in just a little bit more. And then that higher self, that higher consciousness can speak a little bit louder because remember, it doesn't speak loud at all. It whispers. It's very quiet. And in order to hear it, we have to listen really well. So if you want to listen to the higher self, you have to get quiet. You have to push the ego aside, send it to the corner of the room, give it a cookie or something and tell it to be quiet, tell it to shut up, right? Like, be quiet, go over there. I don't want to hear you. Just chill, because I'm trying to get in touch with my higher aspects, my higher consciousness and ego. You're not giving me advice that's good for me. You're giving me advice that's going to be detrimental to me and not help me see what is my truth, right? You're going to cloud my judgment. You're going to keep me stuck in the physical pain and suffering because that's your job. That's what you're here for. But I don't choose that anymore, right? And how we know that we are engaging with the higher self is because we'll feel it tug us to a new place. We'll feel it pull us to that new place, right? And as we get pulled to that new place, that's when we need to have the awareness that maybe this is my higher self that's making me feel this way, that's making me feel different, that's making me feel like I need to choose myself and let the situation go because it's not serving me. And in the choosing of the self, what it's actually doing is it's giving you the support that you need to open the stargate of the heart for these frequencies. It all works together. It all works together. But we have to be present for it. We have to see it. We have to want it. We want that. We want to move to the next level. We want to have a higher state of consciousness, right? This is where the work is. There's no place else to be. And you will know when you're having an experience where your stargate, your heart is trying to open and expand because it will feel like vibrating in your body. If it literally feels like your spinal column is a vibrator and somebody's flicked the switch and now you're vibrating from the inside out. And it's very, very noticeable, very palpable on the inside. Okay. And so you'll probably feel it in the heart area, right through the back, in the front. And if you get really, really quiet, you'll sit there in that buzzing and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going through an upgrade. I'm going through a light body upgrade. I'm going through a DNA upgrade. I'm going through a light body activation in that moment. And by embracing that and accepting that, you're bringing through more of your higher self. And so that higher consciousness can come in and have a little bit louder voice. So maybe it's not going to talk as low as it was talking before, but it's going to talk a little louder now, and you're going to hear the excitement of it and feel the excitement of it when it wants to do you to do something that's outside your norm, something that you would not normally do, like choosing yourself or putting yourself first. Okay. This is really, really important. I cannot stress it enough. So in these frequencies that we're in, some of us are going to be asked more than others, right? If you've been doing your work, chances are you're not going to feel it quite as strongly. You're going to feel it strongly, but not quite as strongly as somebody that maybe is not doing any work at all, or is not being honest with themselves. And they keep choosing to engage with people that are not serving their best good, or things that are not serving their highest good, because they don't believe that they are deserving of anything good in their life. Otherwise, they would stop the cycle of abuse. We were incarnated into that. It's a cycle of abuse that's tied to the third dimensional matrix. It's what we incarnated to. We have to break that cycle. Okay, nobody's going to do that for you. We have to do that. And guess what? I had to do it too. I had to do it. And each time I grew exponentially from it, and you will too. You will too. Okay. So you have to show up for yourself. So the next 6 months is going to be very, very challenging, because it's going to ask us to have rapid shifting. Oh, you just shifted? Oh, well, shift again. We need you to shift again. Oh, and you just shifted from that last. Okay, now shift again. And shift again and shift again and shift, right? This next 6 months is going to be very, very important. Why? Because we're preparing and lining up with the frequencies that are bringing us into, officially, the age of Aquarius, the Aquarian golden age, that golden light body, at the end of January. And so we have been preparing ever since we started our ascension back in December 12th, 2021, right? And then we anchored in on the solstice, the 21st. It's up to us. 2012, right? December 12th, 2012. Sometimes the brain is not engaged, right? I have to really go backwards 2 dates, because I'm not there anymore. I don't hold the past at all. So it's a bit of a challenge. Funny story, though, I'm going to tell you. So this morning I was doing a whole bunch of things here in the house, and it has to tie into like what I wanted to talk to you about, sleep. So I had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then I get distracted by a spider. And I don't really like to kill anything. If I can help it, I will catch it and I will let it go outside, right? Especially if it's an outside dwelling creature. And so I saw this huge daddy long legs kind of spider thingy, right? It was super tall. It was about that tall, and it was pretty wide. So I put my phone down on the cat stand, on one of the levels of the cat stand, and I ran to get the cup and a piece of cardboard to slide underneath it so I could escort this little critter outside. And so I did that, and then I came back in. I went on about what I was doing, and I did put in a load of laundry, and I made my breakfast smoothie, and like I did a whole bunch of different things. And all of a sudden I realized I couldn't find my phone. And now I'm not attached to my phone, but I do use it for business, right? Sometimes I check my messages or whatever. But I don't use the phone for work. Like my telephone number is not a work telephone number, so I don't really use my phone for that. I just use it to check sometimes emails and stuff. So I could live without it, but I thought when I put the laundry in, I dropped it into the washing machine, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I looked all over the house, couldn't find it. And then when I finally surrendered, because I was getting kind of kooky, and I was thinking, oh, am I going to have to take it out of the washing machine, throw it in a bag of rice, and hope that, it dries it up enough so that I can use it again. I don't have to buy another one, because it's bought and paid for. And I would have to go get another one. And so, so I like surrender. I'm like, all right, if I have to go to the store and get rice today in between everything else, I'm going to do that. I don't care. I'll go do that. It's not a big deal. If that's what happened to the phone, it is what it is. There's a purpose for it. I know there's a reason for it. It's just how the universe works. And I surrendered so completely that I went into my bedroom to get my stuff together because I was going to take my shower and get myself together for my work day because I have clients today. And I sat down for a second, like to shift gears and think about like what I was going to wear and all this and the video because I knew I was going to make this video. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my goodness, I remember where my phone is. It's on the cat stand on one of the tiers. And I went over, sure enough, there was my phone. But I looked everywhere. I passed that cat stand 4 times looking for my phone, right? Probably because the phone and I were in 2 different dimensions because now I was in panic mode and I was no longer in the higher dimension where I had left my phone. So we're having these dimensional blips and shifts. So if you're finding that you're losing things, like you put your phone down and now you cannot find it, you don't know where it is, chances are you've had a dimensional blip or shift. I know in that moment where I realized I couldn't find my phone, I was not in the higher timeline anymore. And I was very disconnected from the timeline that my phone was in. Okay. And then, of course, when I came back online and I was like, it doesn't matter. I'll just go buy another one. Right. It's what it is. Maybe there's some kind of lesson or message or experience that I'm supposed to have. It is what it is, whatever, surrendering to the process. Thank you, universe, for allowing me to see what the answer is here. And I got past that and boom, right back up in the higher dimensional state again. And my phone comes back into my memory, right? My awareness, whatever, because the past doesn't exist for me. And so we're going to be noticing a lot of stuff happening just like that. You're going to notice that you might be thinking like things are disappearing on you. They're not. It's dimensional shifts. We're blipping back and forth, and you'll start to see how fast we have been doing that. We just haven't really noticed it as much lately. All right. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was sleeping. Sleep. You're going to feel very, very sleepy, very tired, like you just want to sleep all day. So what I'm going to say is don't deny the sleep, right? Let's say you're somebody that likes to stay up until like 11 or midnight, but you are so tired, you're forcing yourself to stay awake because it's what you've always done, because it's the routine you've always had or the habit you've always had. Don't do that. Make sure that you get in bed when you're feeling tired. Last night I was in bed at 9 o'clock because I just couldn't stay up anymore. My eyes were so heavy. I couldn't, as much as I wanted to. No. So I have a process for this though, because this is a really important part of our process, our wellness process, our ability to be in the higher states in good flow all day, every day. Okay. What I like to do, which I find to be really, really important, is the minute I hit my bed, I start the process of gratitude and I start loving up on my bed, because when I moved into this house last October, I bought a new bed, a slightly bigger than what I was sleeping on. And the mattress is such an incredible mattress. And I'm now on like a platform bed, which I just love this bed so much. And the pillows, I went out and bought myself really good pillows because for, like since 2013 to like October of 2022, 9 years, I was sleeping on a just a regular twin, a garbage bed, like I would call it. It wasn't anything fancy or special, but it was what I could afford to buy at the time. And that's what I slept on. And so, yeah, there's transparency there, right? Like, yeah, that's what I slept on because I wasn't dating. I didn't plan on dating. I was really just focused on the business, the work, staying in the work, evolving my consciousness so I could support humanity coming through this. And so to me, the bed wasn't important. I was investing my money in my website, in my art supplies, and all of that sort of stuff. Okay. But when I got into this house, I realized this house was asking me to step up into my next best self. So I did. I went and I bought a bed that was like money, that cost me money, that was outside my comfort zone. And I have been loving it. So if you're sleeping on a bed that, you've had forever and your universe is asking you to step up and get yourself something that's more in alignment for where you are needing to go or where you are now, please do it. Don't put it off, okay? And the money will come back to you 1,000-fold, I promise, because you're supporting yourself through your ascension, whatever it is, right? I don't care what you're being asked to do. Excuse me. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a bed. It could be a new blender for your smoothie. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay, just go and do it. Invest the money because you're investing the money in yourself. Okay. And it's very, very important for us to do these things because at the end of the day, it's serving our highest, best good and will make us feel really good inside, and it will show in everything that we do because it pours out into like everything, right? So I give gratitude. So when I get into bed, I spend probably a good 20 minutes to a half an hour just appreciating where I am, just appreciating, thank goodness I didn't choose other paths that were, heading downhill lower and not serving the highest good. Thank goodness I chose to accept this house, embrace this house because I'm loving living here. It's it's been one of the best things in my life, and it just the whole area, the forest that I walk in when I have opportunity to hike, all the things about it, right? That I just love it. I love it here. So I'm finding joy in that. And so I give gratitude when I first hit the pillow, when I'm laying in bed and I'm laying very consciously thinking about how much I love everything in my life. And I start thinking about those things. So that is an important process to have at night before you are winding down to go to sleep. Now, for those of you that know the older work would also think about that and have gratitude as you're going through the process of beginning to fall asleep, and then also ask that the momentum of your thoughts slow so that you can enter sleep state, because we don't want to take our day into our sleeping state of being, because that is the rest for our body and then the spiritual recharge for our soul as it exits during sleep. Okay. And then we might want to also ask to be on the highest timeline available to us so that we can have our next highest experience upon waking up. Now, waking up is the next part of this. We want to wake up and feel good about where we are and feel good about waking up. But I could tell you over the last week, or maybe even a week and a half, it's been challenging for me to do that because I've been going through a massive upgrade that is what I would consider another template wipe, where I am shedding out the old self. And I've heard it referred to as the death of the old self, a template wipe. Okay. And it really feels like you're dying. Getting up in the morning, very challenging. If a couple of times it felt like my eyes didn't function. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't see. When I did open them, I couldn't see clearly. And I felt like I was just going to burst out of my skin. I was very uncomfortable, very heavy feeling. And a couple of times I thought to myself, like, is something happening that I'm going to be departing the earth plane, which I know is not for, it's not like, I know that. So I don't really feed that, but I did think about it for a second, right? And then probably the week before, when I was on a hike in the woods, as I was walking in the woods, I was having these thoughts of, am I going to be departing the earth plane? I thought to myself, well, that's an odd thing for me to be thinking while I'm in the midst of walking in the woods. And that thought was coming more than not. And so I took that in and I was like, something's going on here. And then when I couldn't get up in the morning, I could not wake up. I was really struggling with that. And most of the time when I did wake up, I was recognizing that I was leaving another reality on a parallel timeline, a parallel reality to this one, where I would wake up, and for that fleeting moment upon waking up, I wasn't really sure where I was. Like for just a second, I really wasn't sure where I was, right? And so that was happening for about a week. And I would really be feeling awful. I mean, I can't even describe how bad it felt. It was bad. I felt really bad. And it felt like going through a death, like there was a dying off process. And then now this week has been light and fluffy. And, my cat is waking me up several times during the night. And so I went to bed last night at 9 o'clock, and he woke me up at just before midnight. And I actually thought it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't. It was just before midnight, because that's how much I felt like I rested during the night. So it shifted again. And he woke me up probably like just before midnight, then somewhere around 1:30, then somewhere around 3:30, and then finally I got up at 5. And I still feel really good. Like I feel very energized. I don't feel tired. And that's just us two shedding the whole sleep program, because sleeping is a program. And so, when we start to have that, where we're devolving through the sleeping phase, where we're starting to notice ourselves being woken up more, right? That's higher self energy coming through. That's asking, hey, we want you to start integrating these new frequencies and coming online with not needing as much sleep anymore as you used to. And I find I vacillate back and forth between these two states. So for a while, I'll probably be good in this state, and then I'll go back into that old state again, where it's going to feel like the death of the self. And you always notice it. You'll notice it very strongly, because I was engaging with someone in conversation, and I never looked at this person like this before. There was, it never like really came up in that way, but like I had this overwhelming sensation of this pure, dynamic, I want to say godlike, source light love for this person that was like this pure love. It wasn't even like the love that we think we have when we're in love with someone, or that we love someone. It wasn't even like that. It was like on this higher level. And I thought, wow, that's really super cool. Like it was just overflowing from my heart center. And I was like, okay, that's really something different. So this is how we notice these shifts that we have, right? We have to be paying attention, and we have to show up and be present for it. Because everything is shifting. And so the last thing I want to talk about is our dream state. I've had a good friend reach out to me who's very connected, very connected to the galactics, and like, sees orbs on a regular, and, more higher level being. And she said to me, how are your dreams? Are your dreams interesting? Like, are you having these wild dreams? And I was like, yeah, I am. And she said, yeah, I had this experience the other night while I was dreaming where I was in the dream and I could see myself looking down at myself, observing myself sleeping while I was dreaming. So she was like astral traveling, having this like astral state in her dream, right? Her soul was traveling. So cool. And then I said to her, that's funny that you had that dream because I too have been almost every morning waking up with new awarenesses, right? And so I woke up yesterday. It was so funny because I actually woke myself up in the dream. So in my dream, I was having a moment where I was like, who do I work for? And I was in another reality, some other, not this reality, but somewhere else. And I was like, who do I work for? I don't even know who I work for. I don't, this is so confusing. Who do I work for? And then all of a sudden, the me that is this me here found that sweet spot to interject into that reality. And I heard myself going, you work for yourself. You work for yourself. You're in business for yourself. And I was like, oh, I work for myself. I work for myself. And then when I said it the third time, oh, I work for myself. Why didn't I remember that? Boom. Woke up immediately back here in this reality upon like my eyes flew open, right? Like I was like, whoa, I'm from this reality. I'm not from that reality, right? So these frequencies are really pushing us, and you're going to start to notice that dreams are going to become more lucid, and it's going to feel like you're in one dream, but it's actually not one dream. It's actually going to be multiple realities that come together as if they're one dream. Okay. And I can tell you that I've been in dreams with my mother. I've been in dreams with my father. They're both passed. Very, very real. So, and upon waking was like very confusing to me for a second as to whether or not they were still here or not. Okay. So this is what I wanted to leave you with today because I feel like it's really important. I'm noticing more and more of you are starting to have these awarenesses. Very important for you to understand what is taking place. It's these frequencies that are really pushing us, right? Age of Aquarius is coming January, the end of January. We're anchoring those codes in for good. I'm getting these gleans into it because as we head more into September, I will be participating more in the anchoring of those codes. So I will be doing my best to bring you as much information as I possibly can. But again, if there's anything that you are interested in knowing about, I would love to do that too. So please drop me a note below in the comment section and let me know how you're doing. As always, I love hearing from you guys. Those of you that do take the time to write something and share with me, thank you so much because it is truly, heartfelt to be able to interact and connect with you in that way. Okay. So let me leave this here. So I know this video is going to probably be a little bit long, but it's really important. One last thing that's coming through here. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but we're seeing, and we're going to see this speed up too as we move along. We're seeing a lot of people transitioning right now. They're not staying for the excitement, the experience, whatever you want to call it, of the golden age of Aquarius. They're not staying for that next level because they've done their work. They've done what they came here to do, right? And those that didn't or can't are creating exit points. They're going to create things through their health or an experience, an accident or something that's going to assist and help support their departure from this physical reality. Please do not judge. Please do not judge anybody that is departing, because until you look at the soul blueprint of that individual to see what might have been going on there that they exited, you could not possibly know. We could not possibly know where they were in their journey and whether or not they had completed their work or not completed their work, right? So let's not hold any judgment to anybody departing, regardless of how they chose to go, whether it's an accident, the vax, a physical issue, a health issue, something tragic. Don't judge it. Whether they've taken their own life, do not judge it. Do not judge it, because everything has incredible purpose. Everything, especially what is unseen. We don't know the details. All right. And unless you, like I said, you look at what the soul was needing in that experience, we can't judge it. We can't know. And even if the soul did need that experience, it's still not ours to judge. So let go, support, hold the light, be the light, and allow and assist others to have their experience, and just be there for support. Okay? That's going to be very important, because I guarantee you, we haven't touched on this topic, but I love it because it's super, super powerful topic. But I guarantee you, when that individual is in the process of transiting out of the physical, at some point, they will have their awakening. They will have that moment of awareness, that complete awakening to all that is. Okay? We don't have to give them that. We're going to hold that space for them so that they can have their experience, whatever that is, and we can stay in our highest consciousness, our highest state of being, in order for us to have the highest experience unifying into these higher states of consciousness and connecting with unity consciousness, with everybody, with our brothers and sisters on the earth. Okay? So no judgment, let that go. It's not important. The details are not important. Okay? Just know that they are ascending their consciousness, and that is the way that they're choosing to do it. Okay? So, as always, I have enjoyed our time together. Have a wonderful whatever it is that you're doing. Know that I love you so, so very much. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. And I love you. I love you to the moon and back and beyond. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.